Every morning, you fasten that same mask, a rigid smile, scripted greetings, a performance dressed in pride. Loud enough to say I'm untouchable. But when the noise fades and night returns, the cracks start to show. And the truth? It doesn't whisper. It drives into your chest like a blade. The fear of being overlooked. The sting of being discarded. Machiavelli saw it all. He didn't write poetry. He dissected people. He cut open a soul like a hunter skins prey. His world wasn't kind. It was a theater of blood where liars ruled and cowards wrapped themselves in silk. Weakness never stays hidden. It bleeds through rehearsed excuses, through smiles begging for approval, through that quiet hunger to be seen. Machiavelli wasn't your gentle philosopher. He was a predator, a man with eyes like razors. He could smell collapse before it came. And he didn't just leave behind books. He left you a blade sharp enough to cut through the armor you wear. 3 behaviors, 3 cracks. They don't just reveal the weak. They expose you. That co-worker bragging in the boardroom. That boss pandering to the crowd. You, scrambling to explain why you're enough. Every moment, they chip away at you. Today, the veil comes off. You'll see the exact signs Machiavelli used to read people like maps. This won't soothe you. There's no comfort here. Only cold truth aimed at the shadows you pretend don't exist. Ready or not, when the blade touches your throat, you'll see yourself a first time. And sleep? It won't visit you tonight. First behavior. Excuses are begging. Ever found yourself rambling? You're in a meeting. Eyes lock on you. You pitch your idea. Sharp, clear, but then the silence stretches. So you explain, then explain again, then again. Not because they don't understand, but because you're scared they won't accept it. The fear isn't confusion. It's rejection. Machiavelli called this the first crack, the earliest leak in your armor. Excuses don't shield you. They announce your weakness. The strong command. They speak once and the room adjusts. The weak plead. They beg until they drown in their own noise. In Machiavelli's courts, a prince never repeated himself. He spoke with weight, finality. But the lackey, the fawning advisor, the merchant clawing for status, they never shut up. They poured out reasons like spilled wine. They begged the room to nod because they didn't trust their own voice. Look around you. The co-worker who sends a 3-page email explaining a missed deadline. The friend who can't stop defending why she said yes to a party. You, try and make your mother believe your career matters. Each extra word isn't clarity. It's exposure. You're not persuading, you're pleading. Every sentence is a blade, not against them, but against yourself. Each one slices your confidence thinner. Machiavelli saw it. He didn't pity it, he dissected it. To him, the justifier wasn't honest. They were insecure and predictable. You lose power in whispers. In let me explain. In what I meant was, you think you're building bridges. You're actually digging graves. Picture it. Every excuse tossed out is a coin flipped into someone else's pocket. And every time you do it, you're praying they won't spend it against you. Machiavelli didn't romanticize leaders. He watched them closely. From Florence's echoing halls, he saw how they fell, not from enemies, but from their own mouths. One excuse, they lost a room. 2, they lost allies. 3, they lost everything. Weakness doesn't shout. It seeps, like rot behind a fresh coat of paint. You don't even notice it until the structure collapses. Think back. That time you justified your idea to your boss. You feared his cold silence. So you added a line, then another, and another, until he looked away. He didn't see a leader. He saw a pleaser. Machiavelli wouldn't flinch. He'd hand you the mirror and force you to ask, am I speaking from strength or from fear? When you talk, are you leading, or are you begging to be spared? If it's fear, stop. Let silence take over. Silence is strategy. It sharpens presence. It makes others strain to hear what you haven't said. Think of Cesare Borgia, Machiavelli's golden lion. He didn't justify. He moved. He acted. Enemies whispered. Allies obeyed, not because he explained more, but because he explained less. Now look at yourself. Can you hold the line? Can you stay silent when your ego screams? Or will you flood the air again, rambling, pleading, apologizing? Machiavelli sees you among the noise, trying to sound smart, trying to please, trying not to be abandoned. He doesn't admire it. He despises it. Wake up. Excuses don't protect you. They expose you. Every word is a confession, and the world is listening. Picture a shovel in your hand. Every excuse is another scoop, and the earth under your feet, it's already soft. Look at history. The losers didn't lack intelligence. They lacked steel. King Louis XII, Machiavelli studied him like a corpse. He had armies. He had gold. He had land. But he explained too much. He wanted the Pope's blessing, the people's cheer. He waited for applause. And the cost? His crown. Power doesn't reward the over-explainer. It buries him. So take Machiavelli's blade. Cut the noise. Cut the craving. Cut the fear. When you feel the urge to justify, clench your jaw. When you want to explain, bite your tongue. Let the void speak louder than any plea. Because the strong don't need explanations. They create consequences. But don't relax. This is just the first fracture. 2 more wait, and they're uglier, deeper. They'll crawl under your skin. Brace yourself. Machiavelli doesn't stop. Neither should you. Second behavior. Fake kindness is surrender. Ever smile when you want to scream? You sit in the room, tension thick like fog, but you nod. You smile. You agree, not because you believe, but because you fear the silence. That quiet, awkward space. You'd rather kill it with fake warmth than confront it with truth. Machiavelli saw this cowardice. He named it, branded it. The second crack, the next fracture of the weak. Fake kindness. Because real strength chooses when to show mercy. The weak, they show it everywhere, hoping to be spared. In Machiavelli's world, a prince could be kind, but only with precision, only with spine behind the smile. His kindness was a tool, not a leash. But the spineless, they wore a smile like a muzzle. They bowed to keep peace. They flattered to survive, not from virtue, from fear. Look closely. The co-worker who laughs at every bad joke. The one who says yes to every task, then vents alone in private. The friend who apologizes for fights she didn't start. You, nodding along to someone who disrespected you. Faking ease, faking grace, all to stay liked. But what does it cost? Every fake smile is a white flag. You're not building trust. You're selling your dignity. You're not safe. You're marked. Marked as pliable. Marked as easy prey. Machiavelli didn't pity those who bent. He used them. In Florence's courts, he watched men perform niceness like theater. They bowed too fast, laughed too loud, smiled too wide, and when pressure came, they crumbled like rotted stone. Kindness is a weapon if you sharpen it. Left dull, it becomes surrender. The kind man earns respect. The people pleaser earns pity. And pity turns into disgust. Fast. When the pleasing stops working, they unravel. They lash out. They become sarcastic, bitter. Why? Because their kindness was never real. It was camouflage. And now, the mask doesn't fit. Every time you swallow your truth, you shrink. You're not a diplomat. You're a doormat, not standing, waiting to be stepped on. Machiavelli stood in rooms like this, gilded halls full of grins. He watched them, bow to keep titles, smile to avoid war, and then he watched them fall. One lord gave too much. His army stopped fearing him. A diplomat flattered too often. His king stopped trusting him. Niceness didn't protect them. It destroyed them. This weakness is sly. It looks gentle, but inside, it's cowardice. Remember the time someone took credit for your idea, and you smiled, said, "It's fine." That wasn't grace. It was submission. And they saw it, and they'll do it again. Machiavelli wouldn't sugarcoat it. He'd stare you down and say, kindness without boundaries is weakness with perfume. Look at your life. When you say sorry, ask, is this guilt or fear? When you agree, ask, is this my voice or their leash? If it's fear, stop. Don't bend. Don't smile. Let the room feel the tension. Let them squirm. Think of Lorenzo de Medici, Machiavelli's subject. He gave gifts, but never gave himself. He rewarded allies, but struck when disrespected. His kindness had teeth, not ribbons. He wasn't polite. He was precise. Now compare that to the fools Machiavelli mocked. The ones who kissed rings, pleaded for peace, begged to be spared. They lost their cities, their names, their power. And you? Every time you fake nice, you chip away at your edge. You smooth yourself down until nothing cuts. You think kindness will keep you safe, but it paints a target on your back. Machiavelli sees you in the crowd, grinning to blend in, laughing to avoid being questioned, apologizing to avoid being alone. He scorns it. Wake up. Fake kindness is a leash, and you're holding the other end wrapped around your own neck. The world devours the agreeable. Think of Charles VII of France. He played nice. He smiled at rivals. He thought charm could save his throne. It didn't. His enemies took his crown. His kingdom bled. Power doesn't bow to friendliness. It bows to clarity. Grab Machiavelli's blade. Slice off the fake smiles. Cut the empty yes. When you want to please, clench your jaw. When you want to bend, tighten your stance. Say no, and mean it. Let silence burn the air around you. The strong don't beg for friends. They choose them. But don't get too comfortable. This crack runs deeper than you think. It's not just about the world. It's about you. How many times have you smiled through fury? How many times have you bowed to avoid tension? Each one cost you respect, dignity, presence. Machiavelli doesn't offer comfort. He offers clarity. Kindness is a weapon. Use it like a scalpel. Sharp, controlled, deliberate. When you stop pleasing, you start commanding. When you stop begging, you start ruling. The world doesn't admire the nice. It obeys the firm. Third behavior. Craving attention is suicide. Ever chase the spotlight? Posted a photo, then stare at the screen, waiting, refreshing. Counting likes like they meant something? You spoke louder in a meeting, not because it mattered, but because you needed to be heard. You bragged about a win, not to share, but to feel alive. But you weren't shining. You were bleeding. Bleeding the one thing you had left. Dignity. Machiavelli saw this hunger. He named it for what it is. The third crack. The ugliest fracture in the armor of the weak. Attention addiction. The strong don't need eyes on them. They build in shadows. They strike without warning. But the weak, they can't breathe without being seen, without being praised, without validation. In Machiavelli's courts, real power was a ghost. It moved in silence. It didn't need applause, only results. But the jesters, the nobles chasing fame, they danced the crowd. They screamed their stories. They begged to be remembered. Every shout was a confession. They were terrified of being nothing. Look around. Your co-worker drops names in every Zoom call. If no one's watching, he's fidgeting, lost. Your friend turns every chat into a monologue. She stretches every detail, exaggerates every moment, because silence makes her vanish. You, refreshing your inbox, praying for praise. A single well done. A single clap. A drop of recognition in a desert of insecurity. Every move for attention is a noose. You're not climbing. You're hanging. Machiavelli senses weakness like blood. He could smell desperation from across the room. In Florence, he watched men parade themselves. Thinking visibility meant power. It didn't. It meant exposure. And exposure is lethal. The man who needs eyes on him isn't in control. He's tethered, to claps, to glances, to approval. When the crowd turns, he falters. He lies. He betrays, all to stay visible. Think about it. Every time you chase attention, you give away leverage. You're not a leader. You're a performer. And the stage? It's a cage. Machiavelli saw these men fall. A courtier who shouted too loud lost his rank. A general who chased glory lost his army. The applause didn't save them. It exposed them. This weakness is a fever. It burns slow. You think you're rising. You're rotting. Remember the time you overshared? You told a story, big, flashy, loud. The room went quiet. Not from awe, from pity. They didn't admire you. They pitted the hunger. And that pity, it never leaves. Machiavelli didn't flinch. He didn't offer comfort. He carved the truth. Craving attention is suicide. Look at yourself. When you post, ask, am I sharing or screaming? When you speak, ask, am I leading or begging to be seen? If it's hunger, step back. Disappear. Let absence do the talking. Think of Niccolo Machiavelli himself. He didn't scream. He didn't flounce. He wrote in exile, in silence, while his words reshaped empires. Not because he begged to be heard, because he didn't. Compare that to the fools he studied, men who paraded through Rome, shouting their legacies, begging for statues. They died forgotten. Their noise buried them. You're no different. Every time you chase the spotlight, you dull your edge. You trade strength for spectacle. Machiavelli sees you in the crowd, yelling to be noticed, posting to be liked, boasting to be envied. He doesn't fear you. He laughs. Wake up. Attention is a trap. It hooks you to everyone else's gaze. And once you're hooked, you dance for them, not yourself. History spits out the fame hungry. Think of Giovanni de' Medici, a young lord who through feasts, flaunted gold, burned for glory. And what happened? Enemies circled, allies drifted. He became a target. He lost everything. Because power doesn't crown the loud. It crowns the quiet. So grab Machiavelli's blade. Cut the need to be seen. Cut the thirst for likes. Cut the hunger. When you want to boast, go silent. When you want to shine, vanish. Work when no one's looking. Strike when they least expect it. The strong don't need an audience. They own the room, even when they're not in it. Don't lie to yourself. This crack is the most fatal. It doesn't show in your voice. It shows in your eyes, your urgency, your thirst. Ask yourself, how many times have you chased a glance? How many times have you stretched the truth? Each one costs you. Respect, control, power. Machiavelli didn't coddle. He cut. His truth was cold. Attention is a drug. It feels good, and it kills slow. Use it like poison. Small, calculated, never addictive. When you stop chasing eyes, you start commanding them. When you stop begging for claps, you start ruling. The world doesn't kneel to the loud. It bows to the unseen. Turning weakness into a weapon. The Machiavellian pivot. You've seen the cracks. Excuses, fake kindness, attention hunger. But here's the colder truth. They're not just flaws. They're openings. Not for your downfall, for your leverage. Machiavelli didn't just spot weakness. He used it. He turned trembling men into tools. Because the strong don't attack. They manipulate. In his world, power wasn't won by shouting. It was carved with silence, the unreadable pause. Precision, the scalpel cut move. Patience, letting others exhaust themselves first. He stood in the marble shadows of Florence, watching men grovel for approval, smile to avoid the blade, perform for a glimpse of relevance. He didn't pity them. He didn't fight them. He played them. Their fear was his game board. How to weaponize the weak. Machiavelli's silent gambits. 1. The over-explainer equals your puppet. That co-worker who justifies every email, gnawed once. He'll vomit secrets trying to prove himself. 2. The people pleaser equals your shield. The friend who apologizes for existing, give her one crumb of validation. She'll take bullets to keep it. 3. The attention junkie equals your megaphone. The loudmouth chasing applause, whisper half a compliment. He'll scream your agenda to the crowd. Machiavelli didn't control with chains. He used their cracks as levers. A nod to the insecure equals they'll lie for you. A smirk to the vain equals they'll brag about you. Silence to the desperate equals they'll fill it with confessions. The enemy within, killing your own weakness. But the final blade turns inward. Machiavelli in exile had no throne, just a mirror. Every morning he asked, 1. Did I speak to lead or to be heard? 2. Did I agree to serve or to be spared? 3. Did I act for power or for applause? Your homework tonight. Let one excuse die unsaid. End one fake smile mid-curve. Delete one thirst trap post. The weak need witnesses. You'll move like a shadow until the room bends to your absence. Final cut, the mark of the untouchable. Legacy isn't built in highlights. It's carved in blood and silence. The Medici didn't beg for statues. They became the city. Borgia didn't chase cheers. He let men pray to his shadow. When you walk into a room tomorrow, speak half as much, let them lean in. Smile half as often, let them work for it. Explain never, let your silence collect debts. Power doesn't crown the loudest. It kneels to the stillest. Now, put down your phone. Stare at the wall for 3 minutes. If you can't bear the silence, you're already losing. Machiavelli's blade is in your hand. Cut.